Oh, there I am. We need some lights. I'm looking really blue. Give me a second. I gotta get some overhead lights on. Now I'm not so blue. Boy. Man, we're wearing our comfy clothes today. Oh, checking out some things on the charts. Let me know what you got going on. I'm going to go ahead and just post that we are live. Somewhere here. Again, if you're not over in Discord, discord.gg/tactical edge trading.com. Well, that's a lie. Discord.gg/tactical edge trading. No .com. We got to find some tunes here, man. I can't do this without some music. Bitcoin just playing with my emotions today, man. Bitcoin playing with my emotions. Coin continues to make lower lows on the weekly, guys. Not good. Healthcare gets crushed today. I was bullish on the weekly breakout of United Healthcare, and then Trump just destroyed them. Although that gentleman who sold the shares probably knew this was coming. No expansion of Medicaid. That's a crazy gap down. That's a daily candle, guys. United Healthcare is down 21% today. Getting absolutely clobbered. What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm just looking for some music here. Give me 1 second. Maybe we'll look for a different one. Anybody got a good channel for that? Am I actually live here? Oh, there you guys are. Say hi, say hi, say hi, say hi. Click in the save. Hi. I waved at you all. What's up, Big Nate? I'm kind of hoping Bitcoin can hang on to this 4-hour low, but it is not looking Gucci. Bitcoin just looking weak. Weak as water right now. Getting a dead cat bounce. We gotta get this little accumulation going sideways here. Hopefully. Otherwise, we are just down. What's up? What's up? What's up? There's some people over in YouTube now. TikTok is rolling in. I'm looking for some royalty-free music. Let's try this one. You guys hear that? There we go. All right. We already hit a long today on Bitcoin for about 20%. We took the 1-hour low just to kind of show you what we were taking last time. So these 1-hour levels seem to be playing beautifully. So we took this SFP of this daily 1 hour. It front ran the top of the market here. So potentially shoulder head shoulder setting in here, but we are now front running the 4-hour. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So again, we have a 4-hour low here as well that we did not take with that hour low. So hour and 50 minutes, we'll know if we are potentially getting an SFP on the 1-hour chart. This was a retracement we were looking for into our 0.50 Fibonacci on the back test from the high. So we're looking for a healthy correction. This would be the area that we are looking for it. What's up, Restart Human? I thought fusion energy was a dream. We'll see if we can't break this high. If we bust lower, I am probably just not interested. Sorry, I'm mocking a chart up on a monitor you can't see, just so I have a larger overframe than this TikTok window. What's up, brother? What's up? What's up, the KVA? Oh, we'll take a peek here, man. Let's take a peek. It's a stock, so let's just move over to our stock charts. Let's just set this back up for TikTok. Here we got a full chart. Nas 100 getting that correction we were expecting, man. Still coming down. What was that ticker? RNWF. I think I need some glasses. Renew Fuel, OTC. I don't mess with much OTC, brother. These are like altcoins. You cannot deny it's ripping. Or ripped, anyways. A 77,000% pump. I would guess this comes into some kind of correction state. It's got a little baseline for support here. I am a leverage trader, and these are not exactly friendly to that. I probably wouldn't even be able to find it on leverage, but we got a nice liquidity curve here. If this is going to be a bull flag for us, I like the fact that it did take liquidity low. That is what I'm looking for. So it took institutional low there. I mean, this is really speculative. This is a scratch off ticket. But the bullish continuation here does not look strong necessarily on the oscillators, but we could keep going here up to about 6.5 cents. I mean, it could be a big play. If you bought this in November, you're up big, and I would imagine you're taking profits. So even if you bought $100 of this stuff, you're up, you know, a lot. You're up $4 grand. You bought 1,000, you're up $42,000. Bought 100K of it, you are a millionaire. Big news on the 28th. Are we talking about in regards to this? Oh, they're renaming to American Fusion. Gotcha. Yeah, well, look at what the catalysts do. I could set some alarms on this. Not usually my bread and butter because, again, these wild plays, man, they get wild and people get hurt. So if you're in from the bottom, hopefully you took some profit towards this top here. 4-hour structure says, daily structure says we have to break 28 cents to become higher. So I'm going to set an alarm there, and I will look for a back test from that level, maybe potentially for an entry if it's on like E-Trade or something. Let's do a full fit pull here. It's in the GP. Not mad about that. I'd have stop losses down here, though, at about 15, 16 cents. Just don't get caught up in one of those Wall Street bet moments where everyone tells you to hold and it gives everything back. That would be my advice. What's up, Mitch? Yeah, that short played out, brother. I'm glad it did. Didn't quite hit that level I was looking for. 4 hours SFPing right now. I took the long at the bottom of the range here, but we'll see what happens. The music cussing there? That's kind of funny. I'm watching for Bitcoin to just continue here, potentially to the upside. 15 minutes got to be smoked by this point. It is 5 minutes making bullish divergence. 1 hour is potentially making a bullish divergence. And 4 hour is potentially SFPing into the 0.50, which is what we like to see. So if we can break this higher high, we got to break 87,857. We will move our stop loss up for the second time today. No idea what the song is, but it's got me bopping around to it. Minute on Fire by Red Hook. Shout out. So all of the healthcare stuff took a plunge today based on earnings not making estimates and that Medicaid announcement from Trump. But I feel like if people knew that were coming, people got out. I mean, even look at this is Moderna, right? mRNA ticker just beep. Glad I didn't buy that. I was thinking about buying some on that weekly break. That is a beautiful short if I've ever seen one. 930 pumped us and then dumped us 10% to the downside. That's wild. Silver looks like it actually could be in the correction zone for the first time in months, man. Months. Helps if I click the right things here. So we had a 13% correction on silver. This is a 1 hour chart, and you can see here just the long plays we've been taking off of structure breaks on the 5 minute. And then we had a $900 billion sell-off. That's almost more than all of crypto combined in the matter of 4 hours. So at the current moment for silver, what I'm looking at here is, unfortunately, I missed the short, but this was the fill we wanted. I don't know where my tools went. Here they are. Moved over to another monitor. But this fair value gap was filled. The very first time here on silver, we've got a downtrend. And that downtrend is not quite apparent on the 4 hour yet, but it is for the first time on the hour chart on the week. In about a week, right? And that's a pretty heavy sell-off. So we had the break of structure here down in silver. I gotta move these tools. There we go. Here's your break. Here's your back test. Continuation. So we are looking for a continuation short here to lose $101 on silver or regain. And if we lose this level to the downside, again, I'm looking for bearish back tests. Right? And continuations to the downside. If we get right back above range, we can validate this entire structure and keep it on moving. I would imagine that if silver and gold and commodities, you know, platinum, palladium, all those coppers start to sell off, we will get some pushes into some other sectors, hopefully a little bit of crypto. We were big on, you know, potentially the wow, we got the back test today. So remember, we were looking at this break of structure on Fly. Yesterday we talked about Tesla, or not Tesla, we talked about SpaceX, Elon Musk's space company, getting a valuation of about $1.5 trillion for its SPAC, right? Yep. Potentially time for to start taking some profits. I mean, some of those guys are in there forever, for a lifetime, but if you have just recent entries, certainly time to take some profit. But we were looking for a pullback on Fly, right? So the entire narrative was, if SpaceX gets a $1.5 trillion evaluation, we can expect this sector as a whole to get a little lift, right? So we did bookmark a couple here that were potentially looking for corrections after the announcement of the publication of SpaceX, or going public of SpaceX. One of them here was Fly, looking for the natural correction here to the 0.50, which we got. Another one was Ondas, O-N-D-S. Well, this one didn't get the... He did get the GP. Front ran a little bit. And the other one here was Space, which is Virgin Galactic's commercial company, right? The thing I really like about Virgin is, A, while they're not necessarily a profitable company yet, Richard Branson is loaded with money, and it's just a pet project of his, so the ability for him to keep this going is probably unlimited as a billionaire. We took liquidity to the weekly lows here, and potentially the run-up on this could be massive. This could be a gamma squeeze potential here of a lot of money on the table here for Virgin Galactic. If there was going to be a scratch-off I'd bet on with a 7% stop loss, I mean, you could turn $1,000 into 20K, 40K, 7K, 7,000%. So we're adding 3 zeros. So yep, 70K. That'd be nuts. All-time highs in the 700-800s. Whoa, even higher. 41,000% to the upside here. Again, the financials don't look amazing. Earnings are just squeaking by. Structure tells me there's upside. Weekly structure tells me there's upside potential. And the stop loss is easy, man. If we lose this weekly low, you just cut bait and you run. And currently, that's about 7% away. It could be a generational run if it gets the noise. When people start bringing the heat. We looked at silver just SFPing itself here on the weekly. We are in all-time high, so it's not actually coming in against something. But the thing to remember about silver is where would be a natural backtest in this? If we go out to a monthly chart, you know, we broke all-time highs on the monthly where there was going to be a lot of resistance here at about $50. Do we have a 50% retracement on silver? And codify this as support. You know, stranger things have happened. That's a massive sell-off. It would take some massive profit taking to happen. But at some point, this will correct. I don't even know where you would pull a fib here. I mean, GP is front-running that. A little bit. Honestly, we need more structure. Just weekly straight up, monthly straight up. Taking a look at gold here, it's still pushing. Silver looks a little weaker. Gold looks like it wants to correct to the upside here. But it is unable to break all-time highs. So as silver pulls back, gold's still consolidating sideways. Yesterday's gold short did work out. What's up, brother? I cannot pronounce that. It's not even something I can read. If anybody wants to take a look at something, certainly let me know. I'm just kind of going through some charts here, looking for some potential into the rest of the week. Ethereum is fighting for its life to get back over 3K. Just rejected it again right now. And as we are bouncing off the curve one more time here, potentially setting up this head and shoulders pattern to the downside if we cannot break. And we will entertain a short for the long-term bottom here and potentially down even lower on Ethereum. So losing trend would not be good, but we're still holding on to what we can at the moment. Man, a lot of these look so weak. Ondo looks like it's going to give it all back. Hype running off the HIP22 news. 1 billion in open interest currently on Hyper's new leverage tickers. What's everybody doing out there, man? I apologize here. I got to answer this. Hype strong as hell. Ah, there goes Bitcoin. Ooh, it wicked again into that. Are we going to reject? Let me get the right monitor going here. Come on. And we took just the immediate break here. I'm long right here. Got a little a little fair value gap to the upside here to fill before potentially coming back down. Didn't follow my process today. Lost 25% of my account and learning day for sure. That is a lot of your account to lose, brother. 1 or 2% of your account should be the risk you're doing. If you give me 30 seconds, you hang out here for just 1 second. I will show you a little bit more how to do that. Are you using leverage or are you using spot? I'm talking to Grant Sims. Spot, gotcha. Yeah, that's a big loss, man. Were you in that gap down on one of the healthcare plays by chance? That's rough, brother. You want to minimize that. As a full-time trader, your job, or any kind of trader, your job's risk management. 1 or 2% of your account a day, for profit or loss, is what you're aiming for. Even if you made 1% a day, you would outperform the S&P 500. And the best asset managers. I gotta go shut my doorbell off here. Somebody rang it and the message thing's going off. Give me 2 seconds, annoying. Thing's making my dog bark like crazy. I don't know why they bothered. Ups man, UPS man. Bother to hit the doorbell, man. Just leave the package. AMD entered early from market open. Yeah, you gotta cut it, brother. When you go into a play, you need to have the stop loss predefined. If I'm entering a play, man, like if you're in a put, right? I mean, what cues a put? You're short, right? You're looking for that break of structure, that backfill, and that continuation. So you're always watching higher highs, higher lows. And then you put in a lower low and a lower high, which cues you in for a short or a put. All the time, right? So predefined target of the low that made the high and stop loss of the high that you entered off of. When you start moving stop losses, that's when damage to accounts happen. So please, please, please take it as a learning experience. If you need more, brother, if you need more training on this is what we specialize in as day traders. Hop over in Discord. Link is in the description there on TikTok for you. It just takes you over to the website. Here's the website right here. As my computer lags. Lag. There we go. Go ahead and enter the portal for free. Right here, center button. So you can create an account up here in the top corner, and connect right to Discord. It is free to connect. There's obviously paid areas as well if you want access to, a little more access to Ben and I and Eddie. We are full-time traders. Tech had good earnings today, so wasn't AMD earnings. I keep looking for red. I got to remember the logo is black. Here it is. Well, earnings is next week. Why did I think that had earnings today? What was this reactionary level? Is that the weekly low? Not a weekly low. The daily low. So daily SFP. So here was our thesis yesterday. Right? We were looking. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did we build this out yesterday or did we build this out like Friday? But we've been looking short on AMD here, SFPing the weekly high, right? So here's the weekly high. We are SFPing that. And I actually even put this in our paid section over here in Discord. You can find our channels. Donkey, Eddie, and Ben. These are our macro play ideas or our New York Open structure tests and things like that for the intraday trading. I'm pretty sure I put AMD in here. Just not to. Here's AMD. We're talking about this weekly SFP potentially coming back down to fill the gap, right? All the way back down to 176. Was kind of that level we were entertaining long term for the macro swing. But that pattern's got to form locally here, right? What do we look for? We look for that model 1, that head and shoulders pattern. I literally just, well, it's actually drawn here too, right? We're watching uptrends. We're watching uptrends. We're watching uptrends. And then we look for a manipulation phase, a fall back into range, a failure to break the high, and a continuation of the range break, right? So what happens on these structure? This is how we teach you how to trade. The SFP of the weekly high traps the traders at the top of the range. We take all those breakout traders who think the continuation is going to happen. We stomp them out with a correction to the downside. They see the back test and the continuation up. They get stomped out long. They go long one more time, and then they get stomped out again, fueling for lower. So retail typically gets stomped out twice before there's a pure directional change. Meanwhile, this may be like the 1 hour range, and then internally it looks a lot like this on the 15 minutes. But that model 1 looks like it's playing out beautifully here. Here's the hour chart. Let's take a peek at that measured move. To the downside here, again, we're targeting short term here, this gap fill, or fair value gap at about 233. This big institutional candle probably going to get clawed back if we lose the current low to the downside here. But this was a pretty ugly manipulation here. Let's see if this took a level that we would have actually bounced off intraday on. So here's today's candle. Here's yesterday's high. Let's take a look at sessions. All right, so here's London session high right here. So this is what we call a kill zone area on the charts. And we call this head and shoulder pattern here too. So again, if we're looking for intraday targets, if you're trading New York session, honestly, you're targeting really two areas. You're targeting previous day highs and you're targeting liquidity kill zone highs. So top of London session is exactly what we SFP'd. So if you would have taken this SFP with your put, the target would have been the bottom of the previous low, and that would have been Gucci. So your short would have been perfect. Short position, stop loss at the high. The second you return to range, back down to the low that made the high, 7% on account. Wow, this is pretty heavy for some freemium. What site's that for? That's our site. That's Tactical Edge Traders. That's our website. Boom, right here. So you can catch our podcast. You can catch our live schedule. We have free training here as well. Video modules to walk you through our system. This is absolutely free. This is not me trying to collect money from you. Again, like I said, I am a full-time trader. Well, there is a premium section for Discord that is $100 a month. The payment gateway there is just to keep everybody out looking for signals. We're not a signals group, man. We're trying to teach people how to trade. We're trying to have iron sharpen iron, make me a better trader, make you a better trader, bouncing ideas around. Man, that's hell of a grab to the downside. What did we grab? Is that the 4-hour low or daily low? It is the daily. Oh, it's not the daily. It's just the 4. Interesting. ES doing stupid things again today. Pushing right back up into SFPing the high. We'll see if we have room to entertain a short. We actually had the back test already. Let me flip over to the right chart here. Yeah, this song is wild. Oh my god, I'm going crazy. Here's ES. Here's 5 minute. I think upside is still potentially good here. Where's NAS 100? Is NAS 100 in all-time high? It is. So we're entertaining shorts here on some of these indexes. I think this could go higher, unfortunately. 15-minute low. 15-minute high. Yeah, crap. That's not what I wanted. I am activating things on the wrong charts here. So VWAP Cloud is quite a bit higher. 0.8% stop loss. It is 137. 2 minute is selling off at this high. AOI strategies. We'll take a look at that in 1 second. Yeah, NVIDIA had a nice pop today. I'm going to set an alarm here. We'll pop back over to Bitcoin here quick. It's trying to hold this bounce, baby. Again, I'm just looking for this same pattern that we talked about. We have deviation below the range, 2 trap traders for the long continuation. We had a hell of a sell-off, so sell to buy after trapping, potentially here, as we just look at this micro range for this shoulder head shoulder pattern. I want to catch a short here if it's possible. And slight divergences on the 1 here. No structure breaks at all. I'm going to pull this on non-stock just because I need the stock one up at the moment, but let's take it AOI. Is that AO? 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 Am I not seeing it correctly here? What's the price of that? A0I. I don't know if I'm looking at the right thing, dude. What's the price of it? AOI. I'm seeing a bunch of Mongolia things that are probably going to be stupid low liquidity. Yeah. It's like monthly chart stuff. I don't know if that's the correct ticker. Bitcoin's trying to hold the 4-hour low. If it cannot hold that, we're just coming down. I mean, I kind of got my own indicator set up. We use a lot of VWAP, brother, a lot of market structure. That's really about it. Volume, momentum. I'm not looking to do anything fancy. Ikomoku clouds are typically for higher time frame. I mean, you're looking at a VWAP cloud here, right? This is the VWAP cloud. If we go to a higher time frame, you'll see it's pushing up into the VWAP cloud here. But don't overcomplicate things. Pick something, stick to it. Keep a journal on how it works out for you. That way you know if the indicator's doing you any justice here. We'll give it 2 more contracts if it comes up. Oh, AIO strategy? I thought that was a ticker. That's something else. Come on, Bitcoin. Take this gap. Give me 2 good plays today. You know what's crazy is I used to like browsing Twitter, but I can't even look at Twitter anymore, man. The bots are out of control and they post the most wild things. But as far as news is concerned today, big earnings, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, so big tech, right? Fed policy meeting tomorrow, so we could get some nastiness tomorrow. Consumer confidence data came out today. Healthcare sector is getting pummeled, so we looked at United Healthcare just earlier, which is down like 20% right now, 20.1% right now. And what other ones are down that we looked at in Discord today? Humana's down, CVS is down, Rite Aid's down, like all those farm companies are down. And we saw, we'll just take a quick peek out of here. What was the other one? Moderna. I was actually looking for an entry. MRA ticker just sold off against that news. Look at this. Boom. Took a dive. A 10% dump to the downside. Good news is it took liquidity to the down. So lots of crazy things you could trade today. We didn't get our 2 more contracts, but we are in a $50,000 position here. We'll see how low it can come. I'm not expecting a big move here. So we're in a 20x contract. Just down here, probably into this liquidity low. Into VWAP. I don't really play with a lot of money into closing New York Opens when we take those $150,000 positions. We might get the fill for the rest of these here. Bitcoin's still holding on. I lost you guys. My monitor went black. There it is. I'm connected through a prop for this one. It is over in Discord if you want to see that. You can really just hit prop and you can see our latest recommendations here. So Bright Funded account does both crypto and stocks, which is kind of our stick. We do both, right? We were originally crypto guys. And with crypto just on a 4-month downtrend here, we're kind of branching out. We've been branching out, right? But trying to hold down the fort for some the plays have been gold and silver and commodities. We're looking for the access to that. I take a lot of spot positions just on my E-Trade account. Which they have perpetuals now too, which is crazy. Price action is like frozen here. What's going on? 87.5 is my stop loss. 590. I'm gonna go ahead and just move my stop losses up a little bit here so we can call this a day. A lot of girl rockers. What are you screaming scam about? What's up, brother? Nobody's trying to scam you on anything. I'm not even trying to sell you anything. Let's see if Bitcoin Diamond looks like it's coming down here. That's no bueno. ETH trying to bounce off the trend one more time here. Hype still doing beautiful things. And Soul, come on, brother. What red lines you talking about? This stuff here is just me drawing. These ones are, this is the actual VWAP, second and third deviations. You'd have to be a little more specific. These lines here are larger trend lines that we're playing off of, right? So the unfortunate news here on Bitcoin is we're breaking trend and bear flagging below trend. Man, there's a lot on this chart. Here's a little cleaner one. I've got so many Bitcoin charts, they're coming out my ears. All right, so here's what we were looking at. 1, 2, 3. Broke trend, back tested, and this would be continuation phase to the downside. All right, all the way back down to 81K. If we cannot close above 91, 100, 120 area, right? The good news is, if we're looking for an excuse to be bullish, we took the weekly low, daily low, SFP, and moving to the upside with some oversold oscillators, but price action has to show us it wants the bounce, and it wants to continue. Otherwise, it is just lower, my friends. Just lower. You're talking about these? Hopefully I just explained them to you. This here is just a simple stochastic. If you're looking with these, talking about these red lines potentially, these are larger than average cells, right? And the green ones are larger than average buys. So it takes an MFI and combines it with volume and tells you the result above a certain set average threshold. And down here is a similar kind of thing, but this is aggregated open interest. And the open interest that we have here, Binance, BitMEX, Kraken, and derivatives of those. And same kind of thing, larger than regular, if you're looking at these red candles, larger than regular volume. Oh, we're about to get this break, baby. Come on. So I think I covered everything red on my charts. ETH in the 4 hour looks like it wants to push up. ETH in the 4 hour is smoked on the oscillator, which is not a great sign. Open interest is back testing the high, which is not a great sign. But I will agree that this looks like a bull flag on Ethereum on price action, right? The bad news is, what I think potentially could be forming here is a head and shoulders to the downside, and we get a fake. All right, we come back down to this trend, and then we eventually break it for the short. But if you want the hopium take here, the 4 hour, if it pushes up and over and closes above this, you know, the flag that it is forming here is something like this. I'm just drawing it super crudely because I don't feel like putting more lines on my chart. And this would move us up into that 3100, taking the daily high. This is my current forecast. Invalidation obviously is above the high. It could do something really stupid to us here and just come in and tap this inverted fair value gap and then go down. So these sell-offs are not great. So this looks like a fake out, a return to range, a back test, and a continuation. So, you know, we came up, we took Asia high, fell back into range, back into trend. Bulls caught the bounce one more time, but is it dead cat? Are we just trapping people to the long side to squeeze them short? So there are two types of gaps in your chart, right? So there's actually another one here. This is also inverted. So there are fair value gaps where price action hasn't touched. And this is where these are always the areas I'm looking to short off of. So if you get a break of structure to the downside, right? So here's your break. You get a back test, a continuation, a back test, but every time we back test into a fair value gap. So this is an area on a 2 or 3 candle pattern that price action has never come back into and traded into. It's an imbalance. We're looking to mitigate imbalance for continuation, right? So as soon as we get back into these fair value gaps, we're looking to potentially use that as a short entry, stop loss at the high, depending on how hard you want to run it. I mean, that could be your TP or the bottom of the range is TP. In this case, bottom of the range worked out great. But an inverted fair value gap is when you have 2 of these right in a row that have been disrespected. So you have an up and a down. So I'll show you that right here. So here you have the up that did not fill to the downside, and it came straight back down, filling it, but not disrespecting it back to the upside. So here you have fair value gap, which would be an inverted fair value gap. So I'm looking to mitigate this section potentially because we have trapped longs and trapped shorts in this area. So there's been no price action that has just come up and bounced around in here to tell the people who are here what they really should do. And again, you could call, I mean, you can find these on all kinds of time frames, right? But I try to find the higher extreme ones. Like here's one here, right? But that's like in the middle of the range. I'm more interested in the extremities. This is like a early 2000s emo song. I'm Taking Back Sunday. Any Taking Back Sunday fans out there? Who else was that? Who else was that era? Story of the year. Hawthorne Heights. See if we can't get this push. Strategies is still down. Actually, Platinum's down on the day too. Depending on what the close is to get, I might buy some Virgin. Oh, I'm recording. That's why it's going crazy. Oh, come on, get this push. I wish I could show you a larger screen of this because it just looks so good on a larger screen. We're really condensed right here. Wait, are we looking at the same chart? Futures. I've been working on an SFP indicator, which is so TET session SFP indicator, tactical edge trading. So right here, I'm getting again. These need to be back tested into your own strategies, but this is showing me that we are SFPing the 4-hour level. So if I zoom out and we just look at the naked chart here for a second. So here's the 4-hour level. It came down. This was the 1 hour it took, but front ran the 4 hours. So now we're coming down into that 4 hour SFP. So potentially setting up a brand new trend line again here. So we get something like this into the golden pocket is what we were looking for. We can get rid of this fib. Let's turn this indicator off because it can be noisy. Look at Bitcoin go, baby. Up into fair value here. We're down a little bit here. We'll see what happens at the top of the range. I wanted to add 2 contracts up here. I'm willing to take $100 off this for a loss. Damn, man, we're catching all of these. Grammy, not to be rude, but to be rude, you're dumb. Yeah, I don't even know who that is, dude. Don't worry about defending my honor, brother. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I'm gonna tell you flat out, man, 99.9% of the people who are out there pretending they can trade can't actually trade. You can ask any of the guys who are in our units courses, the one-on-one training with us daily, if they are profitable or not. You can ask a lot of our operators if their systems are coming together and starting to work or not. You can ask our live traders in Discord if they like what's going on or not. You can call me whatever the hell you want to call me. I quit caring about people thought of me a long time ago. I apologize for clearing my throat 100 times on you. Do I close here or do we just take this top? My eyes hurt. Is it freezing cold anywhere else? It's like -11 here today. What's up, Tamar? By the way, what's up, Caden? Thank you for bringing the bat to the fight. Ooh, they're filthy. Let me just go through some other monitors here quick. Look at some wider analysis. We got about 50 seconds on the 1 hour candle, and it will give us the 2 p.m. close here. Leaving us about an hour and a half in power hour. NAS 100 still floating right about top of range. I am long Bitcoin. Yes, sir. I am up 15.22% right now on a 20x long. 25x long. I am on my 3rd account though, because I have a larger position from the bottom. I am pointing at the wrong chart. I have a large position that is 300k from the bottom of the range. I had a position in here that I didn't want to interrupt, and it got stomped out while I was logged into my 3rd account for this one. So, I mean, larger analysis here for Bitcoin for me is on the higher time macro, what I'm looking for this to do, right? As we pull down into this weekly low. Now, I know this looks funky to everybody. You know, the bearish scenario is we lost trend, right? And we're stuck below previous range. What I want this to be as we've come down into weekly range and swept is the pattern, the institutional pattern that we want people out. We want everybody to think that we are collapsing here as we come into that weekly low that we SFP'd, right? And everyone just piles in short on this back test. And then I want to use these guys as fuel to push us higher to the upside, right? And the break of structure here on the daily was just an SFP on the weekly, and we bounce, right? That's the hope. That's why we took an entry down here at about 86,300. Very big. It's a macro area, right? And we're hoping this pushes all the way back up into the weekly high, which is going to be back up into about 98K. So riding $300,000 from top to bottom is going to be a very beautiful play if it happens. We did shave a little bit off that top here just to cover our stop loss, but we'll see what happens. And again, this is manipulation, right? So this is the manipulation phase. And if you want to walk through it again, we'll walk through it again here. This is how we trade 101. Let me find a free area on the chart here. So here's your weekly low, right? And we had a front run of a daily low up here as we came down. So price action was breaking up. We had a daily bounce. We had a daily break of structure. And then we had a daily bounce, a weekly break of structure, and then a nasty pullback into a daily break back into this weekly low. Well, this is kind of drawn funny. Right here's the weekly low. So we SFP'd this weekly low, which the valid fractal on this is still the weekly low. So back testing the daily structure break is fine. So we're looking for this return to range now, right? So we had people pile in long here. Institutions said, hey, look, we need more position size, so we're going to bring it back down to the weekly. We're going to stomp everybody out here that was long from the daily structure break with a stop loss at the daily low. And then what are we going to do? Well, we're going to have people pile in short thinking this is it, man. Bitcoin's going to 70K, sub 80K. And then we're going to bring it back on them again. And then we're going to stomp these guys all out one more time back to the top of the range. So that is how institutions fill large positions. I'm talking billions of dollars in position sizes. It's all about the manipulation. You know, I call this a model 1, which is a shoulder ahead, a shoulder and continuation pattern. But if it's upside down, it looks just like this. This is that pattern we were pointing out on Ethereum on the 1 hour that could potentially be invalidated, but the pattern that brings us back to the downside. So if we go back into Ethereum here, into current price action, this is kind of the pattern, right? I drew this a little backwards. So it's here, up, and now we're stuck way down here. Oh, I'm upside down. Sorry. I'm like, why does that look so funny? Here, right? So shoulder, manipulation of the high, back into range, and then structure break. We're not getting it now, but it's back at the top of the high. Again, to invalidate this, we may have already. But that was the trade idea. Everything starts with an idea. It'd be nice if Bitcoin could just continue to hold this push. But we filled that gap beautifully. Boom. I watch structure 4 hour daily, weekly, and then I execute on the 1 hour, 15 minute, and the 5 minute. I'm just kind of sitting here on the 5 minute chart for most of the day just because that's what the most entertaining for the crowd is. Why should we assume? Because we're getting the bounce from it, brother. If we just go back out to that weekly candle on Binance, you know, what you see all the time on these candles is you want to see people trapped. Right? So here's the delta on the weekly low. Again, this is delta on the candlestick itself on the weekly chart. So what does this tell you? Let me make it big enough so you can see it. Is as we come down, we have negative. This is, I'm on Binance, perps, just so we're clear, because every candle is going to look different, or every exchange is going to look different. But the exchange with the most volume here would be Binance, and the most leveraged traders would be on the perp charts. Well, all the leveraged traders would be on the perp charts. So we have a total buy of 27.67 million Bitcoin and a total sell of 43.65 open contracts, right? So we have a negative delta here on this weekly candle saying, hey, look, people are shorting into this low. That did not work out at all the way I wanted that to look. People are shorting into this low. What happens when you short into a bottom? Like, this is where people get trapped over and over and over. You don't. I'm just going to adjust the chart here. So if you're coming into a bottom, why is this so wonky? Magnets on, that's why. Let's just use rolling. So if this is the... What? I'm really confused. There we go. So if you're at a weekly low, what's the last thing you want to do? You don't want to short this, right? Your shorts should be up here. If we're shorting, we sell high, we close low, right? If you're in a macro area here where people bought last time, if you're the... I'm trying not to cuss. If you're the dum-dum who's shorting the low, it's probably going to run it back, and you're part of the trap. So that delta negative trap there is what springs the fuel for the upside. Now, I think another weekly close will tell us if that's true or not, because you have to use the weekly chart for that. But this is telling me on the weekly that, you know, we just trapped a bunch of traders at the bottom of the wick. And they'll be the ones who cause max pain in the market to the other direction. Right? So usually what happens on a weekly breakout to the other direction, let's just see if we can find it. If you're going to, here's the breakout on the weekly, right? I know this looks a little confusing because of the delta candle, but here's the weekly breakout. So here's the previous week where we had a delta negative candle at the top of the range, but green, right? That's indicating to me the exact opposite, that we are trapping traders to push up, right? So here's negative trapped at the top. So this could cause a short squeeze to the upside. And then the following week, we push straight through. Delta did not hang in SFP, it pushed. Yeah, join the Discord, bro. It's discord.gg/tactical edge trading. Do that. I believe that's right. Is that right, kid? So balancing candles matter. The only thing, your job is to not be in the trap, but help spring it. You can play traps on the hour chart. You can play traps on the 4-hour chart. You can play traps on the daily chart. You can play those traps on the weekly charts. But your goal is not to be the trap. So if you can't spot it, you're probably in it. And I mean that in the most respectfully way possible, because if we didn't have people that get caught in the traps, there would be no reason to trade against you. So I take money from people who get caught in traps. Your goal is to know how to spot those. And we use, on crypto in general, we use footprint. And again, that doesn't mean there's not ways to do that in the stock market. You can use options order flow, which I'm not super familiar with, and I'm trying to get through that. I appreciate the follows, guys. Don't forget to hit that follow button. 35 of you sitting in YouTube. I appreciate that. I'm looking for, so like institutions reposition their portfolios based on weekly timeframes, right? So if we come into a weekly support level, an institution is going to make a decision to fill again for higher price action or to start selling off for lower price action. And that sell off is going to be above us somewhere. So if we broke structure upside with clean flow to the downside, like markets do tons of stupid things, right? I'm always looking for clean order flow. Clean, and I mean clean. It breaks out, it backtests, it breaks out, it backtests, it breaks out, it backtests, it breaks out, it backtests. This is clean order flow. So there are two types of trading environments. There is an uptrend, there is a downtrend, and then there is sideways price action for accumulation. It just looks sideways, right? That's it. What isn't a trend is this: a breakout, a back test, a breakout. These are not, this is not clean price action. So while it may be light float or some kind of squeeze is happening, it's going to come up into, let's just say this is a daily breakout down here. It flies up into the weekly level. Let's just say this red line's the weekly level. It's probably going to stop right there and then come the whole way back into this and take it all back. All right. We call those single prints. This is both stocks and crypto. So if you have a huge push to the upside and then maybe another push to the upside and maybe you get another push to the upside, right? It's probably coming back for this at some point because there is nothing here that created any kind of structure or support. And why does that create an issue? It's because people don't know where to place stop losses. Nobody does. It's confusing because there's no structure to follow. So what happens if we just lose this first line? Well, we probably get a big push down here into this stop loss. And if we take all these stop losses, we start triggering a cascading domino effect here because it just starts grabbing stop losses the whole way back down this single print. So a single print is just a fast push up or a fast push down, right? And then if it does that, we probably stuck in some kind of range bound environment here because you created a ton of imbalance to refill. So I'm always looking for healthy structure. Unhealthy structure, helps if I use the right tool again, healthy structure, right? Even on the shorts, if you're creating a supply chain issue, this is healthy structure to the downside. So when you have healthy structure and you have a healthy order flow shift off healthy structure, you know potentially, you know, structure is going to flip and then continue to the upside, right? That's how we trade. We stay out of the bullshit. We stay into the healthy stuff. Sometimes you just don't trade for a day. I don't remember what day it was last week. Trump spoke and just rocked the entire New York session up and down. That's a day you don't trade, man. There's certainly a case for 91K Bitcoin. Oz built it since 96. It's funny, I got an 8-year-old who's our middle child. And he said, you were born in the 1900s, Dad. It's like, thanks, dude. Killing me today. Killing me. Absolutely slayed me with that. Right in the heart. And he goes, do you know how many wars were in the 1900s? It started with World War I. I'm like, oh my God. Love him dearly. Let's just look at Nas here quick. So Nas is holding that. Let's see if we can pull it back on this monitor. So we finally have a break structure of the 5. Oscillator sitting in the middle of the range here. 15-minute volume tells me down. Bear flags on the 30, or bearish divergence on the 30. I'm kind of more interested to see what silver and gold do, because if silver and gold start shaving market caps, we're going to see that roll into other assets. We are rolling sideways, though, for sure. We were stuck below VWAP for the first time here in a while. Oof. I mean, this is institutional push to the upside potentially first. If this happens on gold, silver's going to follow. This would be a beautiful invalidation of this pattern, telling me we are coming down, though. So if we can close back below 5,047, we will invalidate this potentially. S&P new all-time high. Has it? I just have. I mean, this is the leverage one, right? Futures one, excuse me. So futures is not. Maybe the regular S&P is. I'm not doubting you, brother. Oh my gosh. Oh, just barely. This is a good lesson here too. Are we SFPing all-time high? Like, I'm not top blasting anything. This is a no trade for a long for me. The long was from down here somewhere. And this is pointing out divergence right here. So slight bullish divergence. How much higher do we have? 0.8. I don't have real data going on this for S&P. That makes this decision a little harder. But it looks like a little micro ranged correction zone here. Oh no. My broker is not attached for S&P. It does not have it on this one. Well, never mind then. I'd have to switch my accounts around. And I have an open position, so I don't want to do that. Bitcoin in a bull flag. Invalidation below the low here, 87,900. Do we get this push to the upside and take back the high? We got a lot of drawings here. The classic diamond. Sell to buy. Uh-oh, is PayPal dumping? It is dumping. That is not good. PayPal back below the weekly. I don't know the news on PayPal. Anybody know what's going on with this? Let's look at the financing documents news. Cantor Fitzgerald labels them neutral. PayPal and NeoPay partner to accelerate cross-border payments for businesses across UAE. Yeah, I don't know why this is dumping. Slightly underwater against debts. Hopefully this bounces back. Holding this low is going to matter on the daily to me. Yikes. We'll see if we got to close that position today. Oh, somebody's here. Waifu's home. United Healthcare looking like it wants to go to zero. Man, can you imagine this being the play here? United Healthcare's had negative $50. Not a real thing. BTC is actually getting a little intraday pump. Let's see what happens. Again, here's my larger macro guess. right through the end of the year. 74K. But I want to fill out this shoulder that's like helping us create this pattern. All right, so this is a weekly chart. Let me just get rid of some of these brushes. So again, I'm looking for patterns here. Where's the pattern? This is a high, right? So we get a breakout from our bottom, break a structure, we hold the bottom, we break out, we fall back into range, putting a head here on Bitcoin, right? So here's a shoulder, here's a head. Now manipulation would be bringing us right back down to this neckline. So as we come down, we want to hold this bottom somewhere to get a dead cat bounce to the upside to trap traders for a move short to clean this line up, right? I believe that's the play we're looking for. And that's going to create that shoulder head shoulder pattern. I think we can come high as 109K and we can fill in this weekly fair value gap and then the rug gets pulled, right? That was my hope. It does not mean that's what happens, okay? As a trader, you know, I'm trying to craft an idea and a thesis, but those theses can change in one daily close, right? So this has been intact here for a number of weeks. We're looking for a bottom, this to be around actually October 5th, right? So do we get some sort of fill to the upside, then a further correction to the downside, and October is marking the bottom, and then we can figure out what we do from there. Hopefully it's a bounce. But there's been some weird macro events going on, right? So a lot of liquidity has been sucked from everything into gold and silver and other metals right now. Oh, you said QQQ. I know the Qs are sitting here somewhere. So QQQ still trying to hold the high. We are moving sideways for the first time here in a good long time. All right, so I have a target here quite a bit higher to SFP this weekly high. So I'm always looking to play weekly SFP events and then wiggle my way into the position. There is an excuse though that we just come up into this higher time frame PD array and then fall. Right? So if we end up back down in this previous range, price action below, you know, $629, $628, we get trapped below this range high again. And then we know potentially that we have a deviation high. And when we get these deviation highs and we get trapped below the low, that's when we're looking for that push to the downside. So I think potentially there is room to the upside here on the Qs. I'm looking for a short around the 637, 636 area. But that, I mean, if we just blow through it, right? I mean, we just get a big old fat candle straight through it, might be invalidated. But here's the thing, right? Here's the larger time frame. We're looking to SFP the highs, right? We're looking to trap the traders who think it's just going to break out. What are we doing here on our oscillator? Make sure you guys can see that over my head. Volume is pushing out of the market as price continues to push higher. So we are setting up weekly bearish divergences that take time to develop on price action, but the volume falling is here, right? It is rolling out of the market. This one's pretty cool. Damage Control by Justin Raw in the Headhunter. Keeping our eye on Bitcoin. We got a wick high here, so let's see what's trapped in this wick. So we typically look for trap traders in the wick itself. I am on Binance, and you can see the wick here. This is the wick, and we have a handful of trap traders here. Actually, they're all green. Let's just check the delta on it. So delta positive 272K on this 5-minute wick. But you can see people are long blasting this push. You don't want a long blast. You don't want a top blast ever. Well, it may continue up. You don't want to be this guy that longs the top. If you're going to set a set of trading rules up for yourself, trading rule 101 is don't long the top, don't short the bottom. You can cut out 75% of your stupid fucking trades just by doing that. And here comes the correction potentially. All right, guys, we've been going about an hour and a half here. I'm going to hop off, grab some lunch. If you're still hanging out, guys, check out the website, tacticaledgetrading.com. I think I closed it. I did not. So again, free courses over here at the website. Free Discord. Hop over into Discord. Check out our streaming schedule. The video modules are awesome. They are the rundown of how we do things over in Discord for our trading strategy. Just hop in, hit the upgrade access. You can use the free tier. Connect to Discord, hop in, say hello. I am Dunky, D-U-N-K-I. Tag me, let me know you came from the stream. Well, that's it.